get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another story. Happy Halloween, happy October, everybody. So, sometimes people ask, how do you do what you do? How do you come up with a story every single day? Because I make a video every day, tell a story. They're always different. You know, sometimes I reference other stories I've told. It happens sometimes when I maybe run into somebody I haven't seen in a long time, maybe have a memory of an event involving that person. Sometimes I'll just, something will come to mind, a memory, like the other day when I was mowing grass and was reminded of all places of a haunted watchtower in the Philippines because of the seagrass. But today's story comes by the way of something that happened last night that was super creepy and that I don't know how to explain. So I'm just gonna tell you what happened and leave the explanation part up to you. You can take from it what you will. If I look a little sunburned, it's because I am. Yesterday, me and my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and a couple of our very best friends went to a football game, a UVA football game. We trounced Duke to the point of I actually felt sorry for Duke. We won 48-0. Third big win in a row. There's somebody on this channel from the town in Ohio where our quarterback is from, Brendan Armstrong. He's a lefty, phenomenal guy. I wish I knew the name of the viewer. They commented on the video when I was talking about UVA football here a couple weeks ago that Brendan was from their town and they're very proud of him and they like to watch him playing for UVA. Well, we're very proud of him too and we're happy to have him. There's this other young man named Keaton Thompson. I think that's his first name, Keaton Thompson. He's number 99. And this isn't a story about football. This is a ghost story. Just to spoiler alert. This is just how it all started at the game with the sunburn. But this, I gotta give a shout out to this guy, plug this guy. Keaton Thompson, number 99, like Brendan Armstrong's the quarterback. When they announce the players coming on the field, they're like, number 5, that quarterback, Brendan Armstrong. This guy, they say, number 99, football player, Keaton Thompson. Like, they don't call him wide receiver, they don't call him quarterback, they don't call him fullback. You know why? Because he plays all those positions. This kid is phenomenal, and almost every time he's on the field, we score. Either by way of him throwing a 60-yard touchdown pass, running for a 60-yard touchdown pass, taking a pitch and running for 60 yards. And sometimes the defense will just triple up on him because they know he's such a threat, which of course leaves Billy Kemp or one of our other receivers open, and then they score. It's really phenomenal. So we're at the game yesterday, and we're with our friends, and getting the sun, having fun. It was even though it was really a humiliating loss for Duke, it was still fun. We have fun at those games. So after the game, and our son was actually hanging out with our friends' kids at their house. We had a sitter. So after the game, we were just having so much fun, we didn't really want to stop. It was an early game. Kickoff was at 12:30, so it ended at like 3:30 or 4. So we decided we were going to go get something to eat. So we went to a Mexican restaurant, Guadalajara, in town. We had dinner, and we just kept having so much fun. We just didn't want, the time to end. We actually hadn't hung out with these friends for a while, and it was good seeing them again. And Dearly and I were talking about coming home and coming up here to the campground and having just a campfire. We've been doing that here lately because the weather is perfect for it. The temperatures have dropped. The heat's gone. Like right now, it's 59 degrees as I make this video. Gotta hydrate. So we were talking about that at dinner, and my friend said, hey, why don't we go have a fire in our backyard? We have a fire pit and all that. And I was like, sure. So we ended up just having a sleepover, you know, with our friends, staying at their house all night. I don't know how this happened, but this is what happened. At one point, while we were having a fire, just talking about everything under the sun, trying to, you know, solve the world's problems, as guys will often do as they sit around a fire. We've got the perfect solution for everything. If only we could be king for a day, we'd fix it all, right? Well, I got up, I walked away from the fire. I had to pay the water bill. Okay, I had to relieve myself. So I go out towards, they have a fence out in the back of their yard. A lot of trees, shrubs. They're big into gardening. It's a beautiful place. And so I'm just out there, and I just start talking. Like, I felt like there was a presence there. And I said, sure, you guys want to come join us or I said, you want to join us at the fire? I'll even get you a chair. And my friends and my wife were over at the fire, and they said, who are you talking to? I said, I don't know, but he wants to hang out with us at the fire. So I went to their porch and got another chair, brought it back, stuck it down beside the fire. And they, of course, are thinking I'm kidding around. They think I'm goofing off. And so my friend, he asks, who's in the chair? I said, I don't know. What's your name, buddy? And he said, Dave or David. Of course, nobody could hear him. It was me. He said, Dave. And he said, you know, Kevin, my friend says, that sounds like you're reaching. That's a pretty common name. I said, yeah, I know. So's John and Bob and Tim, but that's not what's going on here. This presence is telling me his name is Dave or David. And then my friend says, well, what else is he telling you? And I just listened, and it's not like I could even hear words as if it was like a message. Like, what do they call it? Mental telepathy or something? And so I said, Dave wants you to know he's proud of you. He wanted my friend to know this, the guy. And he said, for what? And I said, for being the father that he wasn't. You know, my friend has 3 kids, and he does a great job. He's only 33, my friend, and he's got 3 kids, and he's a great husband to his wife. He's a great father to those children. He's just doing a phenomenal job. And so he asked me, he says, what do you mean for being the father he couldn't be? I said, I don't know. And then his wife and my wife, they're like, well, what's he saying about us? And I said, nothing. He doesn't even, it's just, he's focusing here on the guy, our friend, and he just wants him to know that he's proud of him for being the dad that he wasn't. So, my friend, he got upset a little bit, and he told me to knock it off and to stop it because I was scaring everybody. And I said, okay. And I just stopped. And it's like, I felt like that presence was gone. It wasn't there anymore. And so a little later, you know, in the conversation, I said, so I'm curious, do you know somebody named Dave or David? He goes, yeah, that was my mom's dad. His name was David. I was like, so your grandfather? And he said, yeah. And I was like, oh, is he dead? He says, yeah. He says, I never knew him. He died when his mother was 13. And of course, he hadn't even been born yet. So it was his maternal grandfather. And I asked how he died. And it was health issues, but he died younger. He didn't die of old age. And he said that his mother had told him that he had like a anxiety disorder, and this would have been, I know my friend's mother, we're friends with her too. She comes down here from Boston and has Thanksgiving with us every year. We kind of do this group thing. And she's a wonderful woman, really nice lady. She works with veterans at the VA. She actually works at the VA. And I've told my buddy this, so it's not like, she's beautiful. She's like, I think she's in her early 60s, but she looks my age. I'm 48, and she's just a gorgeous woman. And more so on the inside. I mean, when she comes, she's the center of the life of the party, just a great person. So if she's about 60, she would have been born in 1960-ish. And her father died when she was 13. So he would have died in 1973, which is the year I was born. My buddy, he wasn't born till like 87. He's like a couple months older than my wife, I think. So 1973, of course, we were still, as we are now, still very much in the dark ages when it comes to mental health. I wholeheartedly believe that in 100 years, people are going to look back on our times and just shake their heads. I mean, we have moved past electroshock therapy, and believe it or not, once upon a time, I don't know if you knew this about the history of mental health, but, you know, when you say shock therapy, you think electricity. Well, before they used that, they still use different forms of shock therapy. They thought that if you maybe were, they didn't even know what the conditions were back then, but maybe if you were bipolar or, you know, borderline personality disorder, which is still something that's in its infancy, really, as far as the understanding of goes. But 100 years ago, if you had any of these conditions, they would dig a hole in a field, maybe 5 or 6 feet deep, and they would blindfold you, and they'd just take you by the hand, and they'd say, come on, you need some fresh air, let's go out for a walk today. We're just going to walk around, you know, the grounds of the lunatic asylum, where you could be committed upon the word of any relative. So a lot of times, you know, if a man went out and got a mistress and he wanted to replace his wife with the mistress, he would have the wife committed. The mistress would move right in. But they'd take you through a field blindfolded, and they'd walk you to that hole, and they wouldn't tell you it was there. They'd let you just drop into it. Oftentimes this resulted in broken limbs, broken legs, and the belief was that just the shock of that, suddenly falling into a hole you didn't know was there and breaking your leg, would just cure you of your mental illness. Yeah. So we've come a long way since that, but I think what they'll look back in 100 years and say, wow. So the United States had more people incarcerated in prisons than all other developed nations combined, partially because of mental illness. I mean, the prisons are clogged with people who, you know, at some point in the past, maybe should have gotten some therapy, maybe should have gotten some medication. They didn't, and, well, it's really an unfortunate state of affairs, in my opinion. So anyway, 1973, but that's what happened. That's what happened last night. And I guess that's kind of the long way of answering that question. How do I come up here and tell a story every day? Where do the stories come from? How do I just come up with them? Well, in this case, that just happened last night. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't an act. I wasn't reaching, pulling a common name to try to scare my friends at the campfire, because it was an October night, as is this evening, which is coming on us quick here. Come to think of it, my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and I were talking earlier about how we should come up here and have a campfire tonight on a beautiful October night. So I think we're going to do that here after I go down and get some grub. And who knows what might happen. Something might happen that gives us another really good story for tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next time for more.